children were certainly up to something. The governess could hear them giggling from their bedroom. She crept closer to the door, trying to make out what they were saying. It was no use. All she could hear was their muffled laughter. And just when she was about to give up and go back to her room, she heard it. "Hester, I want to play a game," said a voice. It was definitely Miles's voice. "What do you want to play?" asked another voice. "I want to play a game with Miss Jessel." The governess gasped. Was he talking about her? Had he been watching her? What game did he want to play? Then she heard footsteps coming down the stairs. She froze. What if he came into her room? She tried to calm herself down. Maybe she had just imagined it all. But then the footsteps stopped right outside her door. She could feel her heart beating in her chest. Was he really there? She put her ear to the door and listened. She could hear him breathing on the other side. Suddenly the door began to open. She screamed and fell backwards. She woke up on the floor of her room, her heart pounding. Had she dreamed it all? No, the door was still open. Trembling, she got up and walked over to it. Outside, she could see the children playing in the garden. They were having the time of their lives. She watched them for a moment, torn between her desire to join them and her fear of what might happen. Eventually, she decided to go back inside. She closed the door and locked it. She didn't want to play whatever game Miles had in mind. As the days went by, the governess became increasingly disturbed by the children's behavior. They would laugh and giggle for no reason, and she could often hear strange noises coming from their room. One day, she decided that she couldn't take it anymore and confronted the children. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "Playing a game," said Miles with a smile. "What kind of game?" she pressed, but the children just laughed and ran away. Determined to get to the bottom of this, the governess went to the village to ask around. She spoke to the locals about the children and her suspicions that something strange was going on. However, they just laughed at her and told her not to worry. "They're just kids being kids," they said. "Don't read too much into it." Feeling dismissed and frustrated, the governess returned home. She felt like she was going crazy. The children's laughter seemed to echo in her ears long after she had left the village. And she couldn't shake the feeling that something evil was lurking in the house. One night, the governess was awoken in her room by the sound of screaming. She got out of bed and went to the window. As she looked out into the darkness, she saw the children standing in the garden, their faces pale and their eyes wide with terror. They were pointing at something in the distance. Then, as quickly as they had appeared, they were gone. The governess shivered. What had she stumbled upon? Determined to protect the children, the governess confronted them about their strange behavior. "You must stop this at once," she exclaimed. "What are you doing?" But the children just stared back at her blankly. It was as if they weren't listening. She realized that she needed help and sent for a priest. Together, they performed an exorcism of the house, but nothing happened. The governess was beginning to lose hope. Then, one day, while she was playing with the children, she noticed something strange. Miles was wearing a ring that belonged to the former governess who had died in the house years ago. Suddenly, everything made sense. The previous governess had not been driven mad by the house. She had been possessed by the spirit of a former servant who had died tragically in the house, and now she was trying to possess Miles. The governess knew that she had to act fast. She took the ring off of Miles and destroyed it. With the spirit's source of power broken, it was banished from the house forever. The children were finally free. From that day on, the governess and the children